is the learning analytics, AI, and smart technologies in education. Let's welcome the first speaker for today, Mr. Piriya Utamachant. He's gonna present about learning motivations and strategy affect engagement and outcome in that introductory programming course. Please welcome Mr. Piriya.
Hello. Good morning, all familiar face. Okay, so today I'm going to present the topic about the learning motivation, how it affect learning strategy, how it affect the learning engagement and outcome in the introductory programming course. Sorry. Okay. So the failure rate of the graduated of the undergrad introduction programming courses has been known as a big situation around the world since 2000. In year 2007, there's been a long institution-wide research. And we found that 33% of the student in undergrad didn't pass the course of CS1 or computer programming 1. As well as 2014, there will be another research that extract data from CS1 research also find the same rate as 32% that student didn't pass the first introductory course. And another research conduct in 2017 also find a similar rate that 28% of students didn't pass. For our research, we conduct on CS2, which is the subsequence of the CS1 course in Thailand, a university in Thailand. So we observe over 3 semesters, and what we find is that only 50% of students pass the course. So when compared to when we see the whole picture of this experiment, we found that 244 new students that registered in 3 semesters. When they enroll for the first time, only 34 percentage that pass for the first enrollment, and 66% already has failed their first enrollment, and after they fail, they repeat the course, re-enroll the course, and they join with the other 109 students who left over from the previous course, from the previous semester before our observation. So totally 174, half of them pass and half of them repeat failing. So you can see that when we see the number of students in 3 semesters, 353 students, only half pass. But when you compare the enrollment, totally 353 students has overall 500 enrollment, and the pass rate is only 33%, which is very low. And when this is okay, probably some people will think that is okay. So many students didn't pass, but what's the effect? Well, consider simply if we consider in the financial loss for this course only. I mean, when we consider this is a mandatory course, right? So if the student didn't pass this course, they cannot enroll for the next course in the curriculum. That means they have to extend at least 1 semester. So 315 semester has been extended. So $600 per semester by average. That means we already lost for 1 year is 6 million baht for this course, this university, for this curriculum and this university only. So we can multiply that by number of university that offer this kind of curriculum in the world. That would be a huge amount. Okay, so my research is that we are going to find what is behind this situation. So when we consider the mechanism, we first start to consider the mechanism of how the motivation have been effect on the learning performance. So because we know that when we learn something, we achieve something, right? So that will be learning performance, and all the learning will be acquire. We will acquire knowledge by we have activity of learning, which is activity behavior here. And before we are going to do to learn something, we have to have motivation. So this model of learning motivation has been proposed, and so the basic of motivation, we have goal. So everyone we have goal of learning, and to have this goal, like a performance goal to pass the course, to mastery is mean to have the skill. We love to have the professional. I mean to have to like this course or to gain friend. For example, this is some goals that can be a learning goal. And when we have goal, we will need to consider the value. I mean, in our mind, we will consider that goal. How value is that goal, and is that goal value enough for us to act on it? So, and another part of the motivation is expectancy. Not only goal and value that drive us to the behavior, we have to have the expectancy and efficacy. I mean, you confident in yourself, you expect that I can pass with my ability. This is basic concept of the efficacy and expectation. And all this motivation drive to the behavior, and the behavior drive to the performance. So this is the mechanism of the learning motivation. And by this learning motivation, we deduce to how can we assess this information, because the motivation is something inside student mind, student psychology. So the way that we can do is that we take a survey and let them answer the survey. The most used survey, one of the most used survey is MSLQ that we use to evaluate learning motivation. And for the learning activity that the effect from the motivation, we collect data from learning activities in the LMS system. Since this is a programming course, so every exercise, every activity is lie on the LMS totally. So that will be benefit for us to collect all this data. And then the learning outcome is obviously we assess the exam score, and we check on the semester outcome whether they pass or fail. That's to expect here. So our research question will be, number one, what is the learning activity? We provide a lot of learning activity here, right? So we have assignment, we have attendance, it means class attendance. Class participation is mean they actively answer or doing the exercise in the class. Self video week is mean they watching video, and self question week is mean they practice question by themselves which is not the assignment. So all this activity, what is the most effect to the performance? This is the research question one. And after that, if we know what is the most effect, then we check on the next one that which motivation that affect each actual learning behavior here. Okay. So for the research methodology, the learning activity and examples exam score, we use the multiple regression as well as the activity and semester outcome. We use Mann Whitney U. And for the motivation to learning activity, we use multiple regression also. Number of students is different because there will be like if the activity to exam score, we consider only the student that complete the semester. That means if they drop before, we don't count it. Okay, and for this learning activity, we consider all the students that pass and fail, not include the withdraw student. On the motivation, we only consider the student who complete the course and answer the MSLQ survey, which is 150. Okay. So this is the result. The result of the learning activity analysis. We found that the most learning activity that affect their learning performance is assignment complete, assignment score, and class participation. So first thing, from here we know that coding practice here, which is the assignment complete percentage and assignment score, and also the self question practice is significantly affect on the exam score and pass and fail as a p-value indicate here. So we know that from this we can conclude that coding practice is a significant of success. And another thing, we find that the class participation here also significant for both exam and pass rate. So this means the course delivery that the instructor deliver in the class still work, but whether it still work for every student or not, because the number of failure is so high, right? So that's a question that is it can be improved or not for this class participation. Okay, so when we consider the other chain, we doing the correlation analysis here, right? So we already know that how activity affect exam score, like the assignment and the class participation. But now, what about the motivation and strategy? Which one affect learning activity? So at this, we perform the multiple regression of each item of the whole set, which is activity, and we found that time and study environment effective time and study environment is significant one that affect assignment and class participation. And also we found the help seeking, which is the learning strategy that how they are preferring to find some friend or find find an instructor to get help. So this activity is negative correlate with the self-watching video, which means that help seeking, which means that this is the different kind of when students face the challenge, they cannot solve something or they cannot understand something, they will turn to some people to get help, or they can watch video. But both of these, because of self video, is not correlate with exam score. That means that we cannot conclude that which one is better, but we can see that these two strategies both used in the class. Okay, so from this we notice that the attendance class attendance surprisingly is not affect the learning exam the exam score, but when we consider the relationship analysis, the criteria of this, we will see that the correlation between attendance, class participation, and assignment is a critical part. It means that in order to have participation, you have to attend the class, of course, right? And because the assignment is announced in the class, so that means it is a critical part here. So even the attendance is not significant in the statistically, but in the real world, it's very important because it's initiate of the other learning activity. The reason why it's not significant because it's mandatory. That's why everyone attend, and that's why we cannot find any significant difference between pass and fail student here. The other part is that we find that the assignment score here is not related to assignment completion. This means that even they attend the class and even they're doing the assignment and complete a lot of assignment that not related to the score. because the correlation is very low and it's not significant also. But assignment score is very correlate with the exam score and pass and fail. That means that with this finding, we know that the assignment score is very effective. If we're going to use this for monitor for the student who struggle and try to intervene early in order to help them. Okay. Another interesting thing that we find in this study is that we find that CS1 performance, it means the previous course, the CS1 course, the introduction programming, is very highly affect on this of the learning outcome of CS2 course. We find that 70% of students who pass, who has A or B in the CS1 course, pass this course in the first time. But students who repeat failure in this course get C and D from the previous course. That means this CS1 performance is something that we can use to identify at-risk student early at the registration, even on the enrollment or registration process. Okay, and another finding is that this is not the general that can be inferred to other course, but for this specific course, we find that 78% of male is the student who passed in the first enrollment. That means most of the female students fail. This can be some issue about the gender unbalance or gender inequality that have been in some research, but many research that try to find out what happened to about this gender factor, and the conclusion is not quite definite yet. Okay, so the conclusion of this finding first is that from the statistical analysis, we find that in registration, the process, we can do a better course design because we know that the attendance is important and class engagement, the activity in the class is still significant for the outcome. That means course design, the class engagement, I mean students who come in the course, we try not to make them just, you have to come to the course. How can we make the course more effective? Instead of lecturing or having the simple lab, probably some approach that can stimulate the student enthusiasm, like some of the research doing a flipped classroom, some doing the real world scenario, gamification, or project based, that could stimulate students to come to the course to finding some enjoyment. And when the class starts, we know that the previous course grade, CS1, is very important. So this could be one thing that the pre-course assessment can be employed if we find that this group of students who have C or D, for example, we should do some pre-course assessment and see whether we need to set up some remedial section to try to adjust their ground knowledge to up to the level that could survive this course. And for the code practice, of course, we know that this is important. Coding practice, we have to promote coding practice, but the underlying motivation is about time and environment management, because we find that many students who have low motivation, like they failed before or they not have motivation to study, they won't come to the class or they won't practice. So that's why one thing that in the discussion in the workshop with the instructor, we find that probably the compulsory regular laboratory is necessary. That means we need to force them to do practice coding by themselves. So, but in order to do that, we have to provide them adequate support, like enough TA, or we may need to separate student by group, by ability grouping. This is a weaker student. We may group them together in order to give the TA to that group specifically. Alternative approach can be used for students who struggling or lacking. For example, they do instead of just coding from scratch, we can do code tracing, we can do verbalized coding, we can do block-based like Scratch will help, or pair programming to help let high skill student to help the low skill, for example. And we found that the resource of the student, we should provide enough, alternative resource for student. In this case, we find that some of students like to watch from video, the other may like to find some friend or find other people to get help. So we should provide go-to person. For example, that can be not necessarily to be an instructor, can be a peer friend or a friend who has a skill enough to help their peer. And also provide video, because many students show that they also depend on video to encounter the struggling. It's not moving. Okay, so last thing is about the assignment score. So of course, assignment score we need to be monitored frequently along the course, because it is very effective to identify and intervene at least student early that okay, this group of students, instead of letting them go without understanding and it will pile up and they will lose their interest or give up in the rest of the course, we have to monitor and give them support before, to such as a catch-up section, tutorial section, or peer mentoring, to help them catch to speed before they got lost in the harder or in the further content. Okay. So that's all the conclusion of the research of this paper. And what we can do next in our paper is that we didn't find in this research, we didn't find the real motivation that affect the learning activity. Actually, we find only the learning strategy that affect the activity. But instead of we analyze pass and fail student, we can because we know that high failure student, the failure is come from new student who fail in the first enrollment and repeat student who keep failing. That's two of the failed student. So instead of analyze just pass and fail, we can analyze this pair, what make them fail in the first enrollment and what make them repeated fail compared to repeat and pass. So this comparing of the motivation, strategy and learning ability between these four groups will yield a lot of valuable insight. Okay, that will be next research, which is already have some result and it's very interesting, but unfortunately it's not in this paper. No time enough to present here. Okay, so that's all my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Piriya. Any questions from the audience? Yes. If no question from the audience, I have some questions. This is very interesting because I'm from computer science and I see the same trends as your research result that students fail when they fail the first time. Can you suggest about the participation score? How do you keep this score or give the student so the others can use as the method?
So the way that we collect this data, we use the LMS and the code grader, automatic code grading system, which is integrated with Moodle. So even it's the LMS, I mean the instructor use the LMS to teach in the class and to grade the assignment. in the class when we talk about class engagement when teacher give the step or example and they will ask student to follow and sometimes the instructor will leave some blank part so that student can think and try to apply what they learn in that part and submit so we can evaluate that in the engagement.
Thank you. Any more questions? So let me look at the chat in case we have questions from online. Okay, one question from Mr. Ekawut. Does your finding also apply for students of different regions of the world, students with different learning culture?
Okay, for the generalization, I mean the result of this course is still cannot say that it can be applied to every region or every class style like but mostly I think it can be applied to similar setting of the course like instructor-led course, instructor-paced course and in the same level which is the introductory programming course and because there's some culture related into this when we talk about motivation so we like Thai people and European people or American people may have different motivation as a baseline as a culture baseline so actually this could be localized I think probably this research can be generalized for some level in some level in the Thailand university and probably in Asia.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions from the online participants? Okay, no questions. Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Piriya, for your interesting presentations. Okay, thank you. The next presentation will be about the knowledge graph analysis of smart learning trends in Thailand by Mr. Yusuf and Jaray Singhakowinta and Kema. Yes. I think they're going to be from online. Mr. Yasuo, are you there?
Yes, just wait a minute.
Okay. Miss Yasuo, sorry, okay. Okay, we can see your screen now. Okay, if you're ready, please begin.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Yu Zuo. I'm from China, and I'm studying in NIDA, National Institution of Development Administration. Today, I want to talk about our new research on smart learning in Thailand with the title Knowledgeable Graph Analysis of Smart Learning Trends in Thailand. We looked at how it changed over 19 years by reviewing 413 articles from the Web of Science database. We try to get a better understanding of this topic. After extensive review, it has observed that comprehensive articles focusing on overarching theme of smart learning in Thailand are rather limited. Instead, the existing literature is predominantly characterized by individual case study. So recognize this gap, we employed SciSpace to systematically analyze the current landscape of smart learning in Thailand. The aim is to provide a foundational framework. The study found that while smart learning research in Thailand is undergoing swift advancement, there is a noticeable need for increased collaboration among research institutions. Popular topics within smart learning as advanced in the research include deep learning, neural networks, medicine learning, and artificial intelligence. The study concludes with the projection that the progression of smart learning will increasingly embrace multidisciplinary and multi-domains comprehensive applications. Our research about smart learning streams within Thailand over a span of 19 years, a total of 413 journal articles pertaining to smart learnings available on the Web of Science database from 2004 to April 2023. The keywords is smart learning, site space, knowledgeable graph. Let's begin with the research and design. About the research methods and the tools, we use the software SiteSpace because SiteSpace enables keywords co-currents, analyze literature, citation, analyze, and browse detection, serving as a multivariation virtual analyze tool. The keywords co-currents map and the clustering view and the timeline view. The study explains the current state and the potential future directions of smart learning research in Thailand. And we use the data space of Web of Science because they are managed by the ISI, the Institute for the Scientific Information in the United States. So the WOS database served as a central repository for the high-quality academic journal articles from all around the world. Secondly, let's discuss the research status of smart learning in Thailand. The graph shows us the statistic analysis of the number of articles issued in Thailand from 204 to 223. We can see there are three stages. The first stage is the stage of the flat start from 204 to 211. And the second stage is the stage of the steady rise from 212 to 215. And now we are in the stage of rapid development from 216 and to present. The stage of rapid development, one reason might be more people around the world are using smart learning, and plus in the 216, Thailand's leaders shared the Thailand 4.0 plan, a complement of which was the educational 4.0 plan. A big part of this plan talked about making digital learning more important. As for the research institution publication statistic, we can see the Chulalongkorn University, Ken Mangkut University of Technology, Thonburi Mahidol University, Khon University, and Ken Mangkut University, South Bangkok, ranking among the top 5. Many schools in Thailand are actively promoting smart learning. For instance, Khon University, KKU, has established the Smart Learning Academy with the aim of reducing educational disparities within the country. The graph will show the number of publication of university in Thailand. We can see that a close look at how these institutions work together showed that their connections are somewhat weak. It's important to strengthen how they work together in research. Also, most of these joint projects happened inside their own schools, not with others. We can also see that earlier studies are primarily concerned with primary and secondary education. However, recent research divulges into vocational education. For instance, the promotion of instruction practice in the vocational schools through smart learning. And we can see the graph of analyzing cooperation network of the keywords. We can see from the keywords using the map as a reference. Most smart learning research in Thailand is about deep learning, machine learning, models, internet systems, neural networks, and more. Digital tools have changed the way we learn. They can use it to give more people chance to learn, help people of all ages keep learning and work for every job. Let's turn to the research on the training of smart learning in Thailand. This table shows us the research keywords with the strongest citation thrust in the past 19 years. We can see the mutation coefficient of keywords shows quick changes in how often a keyword is used over time, pointing to new areas and changes in research trends. A bigger coefficient means the keyword is changing faster right now. We found 23 changes words in the smart learning research from 204 to April 2023. Looking at how long and how much they changed it, words like deep learning changed a lot between 220 and 223, with the biggest change being 3.19. The word of extreme learning machine changed from 217 to 218 with a change strength of 2.67. The change in higher education happened from 218 to 290 with a change strength of 2.80. Let's discuss the time development line chart. This graph will show the development of research smart learning in Thailand in the past 19 years. We can see in between 220 and 223, during this period, the word COVID-19 has mentioned in the timetable. So during this period, there was an increase in articles discussing online learning. These indicate correlation between the pandemic and the rise in smart learning research. To conclusions, even though smart learning research in Thailand seems a bit slow and the government support for it positive, education is important for Thailand's growth. The Education Office, part of Ministry of Education, made a plan for educational from 217 to 236. One of their goals to make fast internet and wireless connections everywhere in schools and communities. For good learning, teachers need to use the best ways. And the evolution of smart learning is expected to exhibit the following traits. The first trait is broadening applications. Future programs in smart learning should keep growing in different areas. The broad idea of smart learning can be challenging. Future research should try to bring together the main ideas to help use smart learning in new places. So, looking into how to improve smart learning tools in Thailand's countryside and using online ways to help both city and country students learn equally is worth more study. And the second is integration features. In the future, we expect a strong combination of smart learning with new technologies like AI and VR, for virtual reality. The last is explaining domains. The trend shows that more areas are starting to use smart learning, apart from using it in new fields like business or arts. It's good to look closely at how smart learning is used in different subjects like languages, science, and computers. For example, smart learning is moving from less practical subjects to more hands-on ones like medicine. To sum up, our study shows how smart learning in Thailand has grown and changed. Even with the quick growth, there's still a need for more teamwork between research groups. Topics like deep learning and artificial intelligence are becoming more popular in our findings. As we look to the future, we think smart learning will mix with many different areas of study. Thank you for your listening, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much, Ms. Yusu. Is there any questions from the audience? Okay, there is no more questions from your answer. I have some questions. Can you go back to the graph? I think on the third slide, maybe your trends. Yes, slide 7.
7.
Okay, we can see that the trends of your research in smart learning that is very high during 2021 to 2020, right? And it significantly dropped in 2023. Can you explain what is this implying?
Because we guessed the date space only from April 2023. So this is not the total number of 2023.
I see. Okay, and I have seen that you mentioned that deep learning and machine learning have increased a lot in this kind of research field, right? From your literature review, can you explain to us how they apply deep learning and machine learning in smart learning context? What direction of the research that you have seen?
About deep learning, right?
Yes.
We haven't had further research about deep learning. We have not a lot of details because we are like the overview of the articles.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much for your presentation. Yes, there's questions from the audience, please wait.
เรียนถามนิดนึงครับว่าวิทยากรท่านนี้มีความสนใจอย่างไรต่อเรื่องของ Smart Learning ในประเทศไทยเมื่อเทียบกับประเทศจีนที่อยู่เนี่ยมีความแตกต่างอย่างไรในเรื่องของการจัดการเรียนรู้แบบ Smart Learning.
Okay, let me interpret. So comparing with China as your country, okay, how smart learning management difference comparing with Thai and China.
ตอบด้วยภาษาไทยก็ได้ค่ะ
We want to understand too. So
บทวิจัยนี้ไม่ได้กล่าวถึงการเปรียบเทียบระหว่างจีนกับไทยแต่ตามที่ดิฉันสรุปแล้วก็สังเกตว่าคิดว่าก็คือตอนนี้การพัฒนา Smart Learning ในประเทศไทยยังช้าอยู่แล้วก็ในประเทศจีนคือเช่นประเทศจีนก็คือมีแบบ Hybrid Learning ก็คือผสมกับออนไลน์กับออฟไลน์แต่ตอนนี้คือการวิจัยในด้านยังน้อยอยู่แล้วก็ก็คือสรุปก็คือตอนนี้คิดว่าประเทศจีนใน5 ปีที่ผ่านมาพัฒนาได้เร็วมากแต่ทางด้านประเทศไทยยังช้าอยู่แล้วก็ตอนนี้ยังมีอุบัติเหตุในการคือความร่วมมือระหว่างมหาวิทยาลัยน้อยอยู่แล้วก็การวิจัยในด้านนี้ก็ยังไม่ค่อยมีมากแต่ในประเทศจีนคือมีเขาค้นหาและเขาเขียนได้เยอะมากอยู่แล้วค่ะประมาณนี้ค่ะ
ทีนี้อีกคำถามหนึ่งนะฮะการวิจัยที่บอกว่ามีน้อยฉบับเนี่ย
Yes, can we have English?
Yes. We cannot understand.
Yes. ค่ะ Yes, you can ask.
เรียนถามว่าการวิจัยที่ว่าน้อยฉบับเนี่ยนะฮะที่กล่าวมาเนี่ยสร้างผลกระทบได้ดีกว่าการวิจัยที่มีจำนวนมากฉบับอย่างในไทยเนี่ย ได้อย่างไร
Okay, so comparing between like a lot of research result with a few research result, how it impacts, okay, the smart learning improvement or result.
ขอโทษค่ะยังไม่ค่อย
Can you answer in English because we have like international participant here. So you said some in China you have a lot of research result based on the smart learning, right? And in Thailand the results still like fewer comparing with your countries. So how this the amount of research impact okay the smart learning movement or improvement in the big picture?
Sorry, I don't think these issues before.
Okay. Okay, it's okay, no problem. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay.